Good morning, friends. So I've been inside, outside, upside, downside, trying to find a good spot that has some shade, a little bit of breeze, and some sort of visual for you. Inside, I got the background noise of the air conditioner and the fans, and outside you're gonna get the dogs. But earlier it was crows. Like, the crows were freaking out. I don't know what was happening. So I'm gonna talk to you about some struggles with the garden this week, okay? In particular. So we have an outbreak or an infestation of grasshoppers or locusts or whatever they are. I'm not a bug expert. Don't want to be. Don't even pretend to be one. So yesterday or a couple days ago, I came out and sprayed the garden with neem oil. Neem oil is a natural, from a plant, oil that will kill, smother soft-bodied animals, insects. I don't feel like grasshoppers are soft-bodied, but it does seem to have done some good, but not enough. Like, there's so many of them. And they're eating the leaves off of my fruit trees. They're eating the leaves off of my plants. And quite frankly, I didn't plant enough this year to share, okay? So, I have ordered an organic insecticide, which I am not a fan of using, but I don't feel like I have any more options. So if anybody out here listening has some options for a grasshopper infestation, drop that information down here. I'm going to spray. I'm going to get it tomorrow. It'll probably be Sunday before I get out and get spraying. So there's a couple days to respond. But there's just so many of them. I mean, literally when you walk through the grass, they're just popping up, let alone in the garden. Now, everything's it's still growing. It still looks good, but it's full of holes and it's decimating some things. I mean, those leaves are what provide all the nutrients. They capture the sunlight, and that's what feeds the plant. So it slows production and all the things. On top of that, heat, drought. I mean, we're having to water every day. If you miss a day, you can see it. Now, some of my bigger pots that I have, I can drop 2 gallons of water in them, or, fill a 2-gallon bucket and then go hit them with a big dose of water, and they'll be good for a couple days. But my other stuff, especially in my raised beds, seem to be struggling a little bit more. So I have to water them every day. So that's the garden challenge, and I can't just share the good stuff with you. I have to be able to share some of the challenges as well, because real is real. And out here is real. It is real. Sometimes it's so real, I don't want to like it. But I will say that once you figure out the challenges, they're easy to overcome. The work might be hard, but you overcome them. And the joys definitely outweigh the difficult times. So, the other challenge that we're dealing with right now is a chicken snake. We have tried to secure up most of the coop. We have put ceramic eggs in and eliminated at least one with that. Took out one, shored up a spot, had a good couple weeks, and now they've found a new spot. So we will be digging into that this weekend to figure out what that is and securing that very well. In the interim, we actually started hatching out our own chicks. We incubated them. They're about 4 or 5 weeks old now. We just moved them outside to a grow out pen in the yard that is super secure. I wish my big coop was as secure as this one. But nonetheless, they're doing very well. And why did we do that? We did that for a couple of reasons. One, the avian flu. Chicken prices going up, and so it was just necessary. Hello. My chickens always want to talk when I'm talking about chickens, don't they? My roosters. So we have an open debate on how many hens we have, but I'm gonna say we have close to 10 hens right now. I don't know what we have in the pen. They're a little too young to completely be sure, but we have 17. If half of them are hens, we're doing good to carry on. So we have 2-year-olds back here, 1-year-olds up here, newbies over here, right over here. So the goal is to just keep them going, because after 2 years, hens start to slow down their production, their laying production. So just keep a good rotation going. And also, if we end up getting half roosters, they're all going to the freezer. So we did that intentionally as well. Just sometimes you can tell by the shape of the egg what you're gonna get. I tried to mostly pick the more oval shaped ones. This will be the first time I've ever tried that, so we'll see if that actually is a thing. But I intentionally put some very pointy eggs in there as well, because those are typically supposed to be roosters. So if we get roosters, I don't need more than the 2 that I have. They're great roosters. They do a great job protecting the flock. So those little roosters will go to freezer camp and feed the family. There was on May 29th, a large fire that wiped out thousands of birds in Minnesota at one of the largest egg production places in the US. They put out millions of eggs per day. There is a prediction that it is going to impact what's on the market pretty significantly. So you already have the avian flu that's taken out millions of birds, and it's humans taking them out. If one bird has it, it doesn't mean everything is gonna have it, but that's not my call. That's why I incubated my own eggs this year as well, because my birds are healthy, so everything that I put back to the farm has the same health record on day 1. Anyway, and I didn't think it was safe to bring in outside birds right now with everything that was going on. Some of the biggest chicken producers where you can order hatcheries also have had some avian flu strike them. So it just seemed sensible, because I had the equipment to do it and the know-how to just produce my own, which is what I did. So just know that the price of eggs, there's some prediction that it will go up to $1 an egg. For those of you that don't do math well, that's $12 a dozen. Can you imagine? Like, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just saying, if you can get some backyard chickens, you should do that. You don't need a rooster. Hens will lay, whether they have a rooster or not. But if you can have them, I would put 5 in your backyard and just grow some meat and some eggs. At worst, it's just fun. You know, like nothing goes wrong and everything's good. And then at the worst case scenario, you have food. You have eggs, you're not paying $12 a dozen. Anyway, just food for thought. Food for thought. The other challenge that we're facing this week is lack of rain. And the paddock that I have our goats in is actually quite large, or so I thought. But when there's no rain, guess what? It's not that large, because they're eating the grass as fast as it's growing. They're eating all the vines, all the things, all the weeds, all the shrubs, everything that would normally grow in rain. They're eating that down and it's not coming back. So we're supplementing with feed and some hay, which again costs money. And this is happening to big farmers too. So the people who are growing your food are having these very same struggles this year, okay? With the chickens, with the goats, with the cows, with the gardens, with the, what do they grow crops, not gardens, but they have crops. same problems, they're having them too. And then you couple that with the price of fertilizer, the price of gas, the whole shebang. And those are the challenges that we're dealing with. Now, I have let my goats out to wander. And again, they're great landscapers, but they ventured over to my neighbor's house, who's not close, by the way. I mean, there's several acres and a railroad track between us. But he was very kind to come over and let me know that they were visiting. He thought that they were doing him some good, and he wasn't upset. He just wanted me to know that we probably had a hole in the fence. So, hole in the chicken coop, hole in the goat fence, or the pasture fence. Thankfully not big enough for a cow to get through. So, the goats have been a little more penned up, and that's requiring some extra feed costs. So those are the challenges that we're facing. I want you to always know the truth of both sides. While this may be, whoa, cat. While this may be what we choose to do, and it is joyful, and it is fulfilling, it is not easier than going to the grocery store. 100% tell you that. It may get to be that way in the future. It may be easier to just do it here than it is to go to the grocery store. But I have begun to refuse to go to the grocery store for anything that I do not, cannot, will, and can't grow on, or am not currently growing on our property. Which right now is just a lot of vegetables still. I will probably still buy from the farmer's market this year, just because we're having so many issues with these bugs. It makes me a little nervous. So I'm still learning. 3 years is not enough time to really say you're a pro gardener. I'm definitely not that. So I have a lot to learn. I have a lot to learn as far as volume growth. What is it going to take to feed my family? Now, I have 16 green bean plants planted. Last year, I had 2 or 3. And I also have some red noodle beans growing, which I've never grown before. They're pretty fabulous, though. The grasshoppers actually like them. And I've found that wasps really like them. They have beautiful flowers on them. When we get this issue taken care of, I will zoom in and show you some of those growing. But I see the grasshoppers are chewing on some of the noodle beans. So when I find that and I pick them, I give them to the baby chicks. They love them. It's like a smorgasbord for them. Anyway, I thank you for listening to the challenges. I hope that you learned something. Please share information with me. I am new to this. Like, there are people that have been doing this a lot longer than I have. But grow some food and look for your resources to keep your small businesses, your small farmers going through the struggling times as well. I thank you, and I hope you have a beautiful weekend, and be very safe and grow some food.